So this is to the policy formulators. You must get your heads out of your backsides, man. You have to get out of your classroom mentality. Don't go into that manura type space of just talking things that are not practical, that are too academic. We must find a way now to recycle water, to do the 3 R's. It's not me who wrote them. This is modern education that has to be practicalized. Reduce, reuse, recycle. That's obvious. The policy formulators, you can't be running around doing political campaigns. Some are doing BBI. Are you crazy? We must, water is life. We must conserve and fix water. You know, it's interesting, just last week, and I knew this from a project I was doing, the social accountability audit under the World Bank. Nairobi County is losing 1 million shillings a day in leakages, water leakages, illegal connections, all over the VGGs, you know, all over the place. So now under my social accountability audit program, what we're doing is identifying the connections and using a smartphone. You know, you just take a picture of the connection and do the GPS location, upload that to the database. And as you do audit, you can actually check with the actual connections. It's actually easy to do now. I mean, this is the modern way of doing audit. Why are we stuck in the past? If you do things the wrong way, you'll obviously have problems. If you fail to plan, you'll plan to fail. You must have a way to reclaim water, to desilt, to cut wastage, to catch, to have water catchment. That also goes back to the water towers. I mean, this is obvious. You can't just cut forests. The president began, and these are some of the things that we push very informally, with a campaign on planting trees. Just yesterday, Sunday, day before yesterday, Saturday, I planted 30 trees. I planted 90 trees a month before. You have to plant trees. Don't wait for another Kenyan to do something. And so the drought is a ludicrous, you know, reality that we're dealing with that we must not. That takes me to the economy because they're all intertwined. It's very unfortunate the things David Ndii is saying about power, but I'm just going to do rudimentary economics 101. You cannot run an economy by taxing everybody to death. One of the American presidents said that trying to tax people to build an economy is like a man trapped in a bucket, trying to lift himself up using the handles of the bucket. It's not possible. What you do is you stimulate economy by creating an enabling environment, by cutting out bribes and foolishness and tariffs and all of that rubbish that people undergo when they get to the border. I've come abroad from into this country so many times. You know, they just look at how you look, how you smell. They're like, hey, no meleta nini. Can you give me something? That's at the port of entry. You can't have people behaving like monkeys in that way. Pardon my French. You know, so to build an economy, you must have the enabling environment. You must be receptive to criticism. You cannot have double and triple taxation where you charge income tax and then you're paying VAT, you're fueling a car, you're buying tires, you're paying VAT and sales tax and what manner of tariffs and duty and imports and what have you. And then all that money is going somewhere to get looted. So you're paying taxes on one hand and someone is waiting to receive on the other hand to give another guy to do maandamano. Come on, we cannot run an economy like that. You have to run an economy by ensuring that inputs are low priced. One of the biggest impediments is energy, because energy is too expensive. Look at where we're seated. We have lights here. And it costs a lot, even during the drought, to run lights, because now the generation turns into diesel-generated lights. This is how failed states like Nigeria operate. Just the noise of diesel motors, okay? The unreliability of it, the danger with handling nuclear, which we're obviously not good at that. So you have to have an intervention in energy. And what I've told them is you must have a G2G, government to government. For example, between the government of Kenya under William Ruto and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where we agree on a rate, a favorable rate, that they can give us crude. And we used to refine it here, or even refined. a favorable rate that we can then sell our fuel at a retail of, say, 89 shillings a litre, because then that has a knock-on effect on food prices, because everything is moved around. Construction materials are moved around. Food is moved around between farms and markets and distributed, etc. Warehousing, supermarket, FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, all of these things run on vehicles and what have you, and fuel. And so if fuel is too expensive, that is the first step to problems. But David Ndii doesn't seem to understand that. He's justifying high energy prices by vilifying the middle class, which he himself belongs to. That's absurd. And you're advising the president? That's ridiculous. That's effing unacceptable. You're getting paid taxpayer money to go online and troll and abuse people who have a contrary opinion? That is completely unacceptable. So we must realize low energy prices. I run something called OPRAC. All you have to do is get in touch and have the OPRAC report, Oil Price Advocacy Campaign. That was, a lot of work went into it, along with the Honorable Paul Mwite, along with the ICJ, International Committee of Jurists in Kenya, because then food and whatnot becomes a human right. That's why these organizations were able to pull them in, and they put a few of their resources and were able to look at the economy and see what exactly is the problem with energy. And once you cut energy prices, the small manufacturers can then realize the savings and then create a job. They can actually add a driver, add a marketer, add a tuk-tuk guy, a distributor, because they are now not paying. Energy is a hindrance. We're paying as much as people in California, while our income, our GDP, all right, incomes are a tenth. How do you compete? How do you compete with Ethiopia? How do you compete with South Africa? If, when you look at it in US cents, our production costs are too high. That's why we're importing everything. Do I have to explain that? It's extremely annoying to have to explain that. So I just want to straight shoot on that. We have to do very basic and logical things. All right? You guys are talking about solutions. To save and realize, by the way, water is also used for, because we have hydro generation and others, geothermal. But all you hear is excuses. Kenyans don't want stories anymore. Even the government that I support, we can't now even keep talking about stories, about what needed to be done or what happened to us. Myself, I don't even hold any public office. I am vilified every day. I am name-called. I am threatened. I've been threatened publicly for not supporting Raila. But I don't care. I just push my agenda. What I believe is good. I attended William Ruto's rallies. He was the underdog. He won. We don't need to keep talking about that. What we need to keep talking about is the hustler agenda. How to ensure the hustler fund remains solvent, remains within reach, how to grow it so that, as I had proposed many times before, I had said that it should be as little as 50,000, as high as 5 million, not 500 shillings. So that these kinds of things transform people's lives and they actually feel President Ruto is a sharp guy. He understands what needs to be done and he's done it. That's what we need to do. We don't need to continue saying, oh, I'm going to threaten to do this, etc. Let agencies do their work, empower them and let them do that. But let's not waste time finger pointing, name calling. Let's get moving on delivery of the hustler agenda, the plan, the so-called the plan, that Hussein Mohammed shared so well. We don't need to get into more gimmickry. We've already had enough gimmicks in this country from people like Uhuru when they're doing their, political entertainment and their BBI nonsense that is used to loot taxpayer funds. And then all of a sudden, it's a stillbirth. We don't need to do, what we need is prudent fiscal management to shrink the budget, not just to continue expanding it, to control borrowing. That's under economy. To manage borrowing so that our kids are not being born today. I just told you guys I had a daughter last year. Then all of a sudden she's owing 100,000 shillings. Why? And she's a newborn. You want to leave the country. That is really the purpose of life, is you want to leave Kenya better than you found it, not worse. And so we must fix these things and realize a better economy. And then also you have stability. If we are delivering on our agenda, who is going to care what these rioters are talking about, mass action and what have you? No one. They'll just be laughed out of town. And so we must get serious on governance, good governance, meritocracy, delivering on the agenda. Diversity It cannot just be seen to be a government of Sijui, Kikuyus and Kalenjins only. So that what? It's ridiculous. So, thanks for watching Straight Shooting. We must get some things right. I don't hear the story of drought anymore. I don't hear funny things from people around the president mocking, you know, and belittling taxpayers who say, you know, you promised us lower power. I mean, that's not... Ruto is a smart guy. It should be his pride and joy to deliver that, to prove himself different from the rest. How is that a bad thing to ask for? And it's practical. It's doable in many, many ways. In return, by the way, we can give South Africa, we have excellent lamb here, we have good beef. We can get into MOUs without corruption on what they need. And we can supply that. And that's how we justify the rate that we get. What's so big with that? I can be at the delegation to help negotiate that, by the way. I just don't believe in excuses. I don't believe in excuses. We must not have excuses. And I told them, forget those CAS positions, Your Excellency. Just work for Kenyans and deliver. People will even forget all those funny things going on. And this country will prosper. So we'll talk some more next week. Tune in and bring your questions. Straight Shooting, Real Talk, Benji Ndolo on YouTube. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. We need more and more viewers so that we can also now leverage and maybe start giving you guys, I don't know, gifts and different things. So just get on the thing. Get on and let's talk, interact. In time, we'll give you a number you can call, etc. But send me questions. I told you I like to address questions. And today, I feel we've really done a decent thing. So thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next week. Straight Shooting. Pap, pap. Kuna mchezo. Thank you for watching. Cheers.